Welcome back. This is episode 170 of the NYYST Podcast. I am your host, Christian, and I'm joined by all my friends today. I'm just here by myself, still dealing with the effects of the COVID-19 quarantine. See if it was like COVID-24 quarantine. Doesn't have the same type of ring to it, but we're all experiencing this together. Easy for me to say. So here we are with episode 170 of the podcast. We're still trying to churn out new content for you guys. Last week, Chris and I each did a show. Chris was joined by a member of, I believe it was Andrew Rotundi of the Bronx Pinstripes. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, go to our page on iTunes and listen. I flew solo last week. Same format we're doing here. We're doing a little live show, and then it went up on iTunes. So, we're still trying to do our best here with coping with the social distancing, and we're still not there yet with trying to find a way for us to work together in getting a podcast with the both of us out right now. So right now you'll just have to take a little bit of me and a little bit of him. And hopefully it gets your NYYST fixed in. But, we're unprecedented times, so we just got to roll with the punches here and go from there. Excuse me. I'm going to be coughing a lot on this pod tonight, probably. I want everybody to understand that going in and not worry that I have coronavirus. It's the end of March, and this is just what happens. It's my allergies just hitting me, and see, excuse me. I do apologize for that. Hopefully we can limit it during the show here tonight. But please go to iTunes, leave the show a 5-star rating and review. I know Stat Guy Rod was here, he'd be like banging on the desk to do that. So let's go to iTunes and get that 5-star rating and review in. Hope everybody's healthy. Hope everybody's safe. Things are getting crazy. New Jersey just got hit with a whole new batch of positive tests. And I know everybody's going to freak out. Every time more positive tests come out, everybody's going to get freaked out about it. But here's what's going to happen. More people you test, more people are going to come up positive. We're getting more tests in. More people are taking tests, more people are going to come up positive. Not that it's getting any worse. It's just the way it is right now. And hopefully things will start to get back to normal. I don't know. The president thinks things can happen in a month. Maybe not a month. Easter's April 12th this year. Personally, without getting political, could it? Maybe. I don't know. I do think that the rest of the country does have a better chance of getting back to, quote, normal faster than the area where I live in North Jersey and especially in New York. Excuse me. Due to the dense population, we're very densely populated here. So we're going to probably have to stay in quarantine a lot more than other parts of the country are, and it's unfortunate, but if we can do systematic rollouts, maybe that wouldn't be the worst thing to try to keep the economy going a little bit. Hey guys, you know what? It sucks, and if you're able to still support your small businesses that are open, I would hope that you're able to. It's tough for everybody, so we're just gonna have to keep moving on here, but. Hey, you know what? Today is supposed to be opening day. And my shirt should say, "Where's baseball, Susan?" Because we don't know right now, right? Excuse me. The commissioner gave an interview on ESPN. I believe it was Wednesday night. I don't even know what day it is anymore, to be honest with you. And I'm sure a lot of you are going through the same issues that I am, not really knowing what day it is because all the days are just kind of melting together right now. But we're at a point here where, he's trying to be optimistic and try to lay out a timeline. But the problem with that is we don't know when this is going to be over or when it's going to be safe to come out and play. We don't know this. And The problem, as I was just saying earlier, is that other parts of the country might be able to go back to normal before the metropolitan areas are. And that's going to be a big problem for us. And I mean, the majority of you listening are Yankee fans. So it's going to, or I'm going to say probably, we're probably hitting that 99.9% Yankee fans that listen to this podcast. But we're at a point, we're going to maybe get to a point where, certain states can get back to a sense of normalcy, but maybe not New York, maybe not New Jersey. And how does that affect the Yankees and the Mets? Do the Yankees and Mets, are they always on the road? Like, do the Yankees go to Boston but like play as the home team? I don't want to see that. Like, don't get me wrong. At this point now, where we're actually missing baseball, this is the first official day where we're missing baseball. Yeah, spring training's been canceled for weeks, but it's still spring training. It's something you take in, but it's not. The emotion isn't there. This is the first official day that we're missing baseball. So now that we're here and at that point where we're missing baseball, it's like you'll take anything right now. Like, if you could see the Yankees play the Orioles in, Poland, where they probably, I don't know, is Poland big in baseball? I wouldn't think so, but like, you would take it right now. You would, because you're just jonesing for baseball so bad. But so I don't want to say that I don't want, like, I definitely 100% would not want to see the Yankees play as the home team in Fenway Park. But I don't. Like, I want the Yankees to be the home team in the Bronx. So because of the uncertainty surrounding the entire country as a whole, we don't know. Like, we can't really put time frames on things. And you're hearing, like, maybe they want to play, mid to late May. Is that what I was hearing correctly? I should have looked this up before I came on the show, but I forgot to, because this is another thing that I want to plug right now. On the website, NYYSportsTalk.com, we're debuting a new interview series called 10 Questions in Quarantine. And our first interview was with Jack Curry of the YES Network. Jack did an amazing job with his interview. So we do implore everybody to go to the website and check that out. This is it's not a serious interview. It's meant to be fun, meant to be lighthearted. Because of what's going on in the world, you just want to have a little fun right now, get to know some of your favorite YES Network personalities a little bit better. We have a couple ball players lined up as well. So, and a couple of favorites of the podcast. If you've listened to us long enough, you can probably figure out who they're going to be. But we don't want to spoil anything. We want to keep you tuned in to the website. Today was Jack Curry. Tomorrow we'll have a new one, and then we'll come back with more on Monday. We won't put any out on the weekend. And now I completely lost my entire train of thought. But, so, right, what are we going to do? Let's say that we're still in crisis mode here in the East Coast, maybe crisis mode still on the West Coast, but the center part of the country, maybe they can get back to that normal life, right? So what do? Do the Yankees and Mets play in empty stadiums at home? Do you want to see that? Do you risk other teams traveling into New York? I don't know if that's something they want to do per se. My best solution right now off the top of my head is, like, I'm thinking, is just have the Yankees play in Tampa. Have them play at Steinbrenner Field. It's kind of still their home ballpark. I mean, it would suck for us. Like, I really just want to be at Yankee Stadium. I really just want to watch my Yankees in their home ballpark. But I get it. We're in such an unprecedented time right now that maybe that's not possible. And instead of playing in front of nobody or having them always be in a visiting ballpark, at least then they can have some semblance of a home field advantage, have some semblance of being at home, playing at Steinbrenner Field. Maybe that's the best case scenario. And then you keep hearing that they're maybe going to try to extend the season, that they'll play in November. And then you know what it's like. You're living up here. You know what it's like in November. Especially nowadays, it can be very hit or miss. You can have a 60-degree day. You can have a blizzard. So you don't want to be playing World Series games. We're Yankee fans. This is what we're hoping for. You don't want to be playing World Series games with the threat of a blizzard. So you're obviously lessening that in Florida. And the other thing is, they're like, oh, we'll play a neutral site. What's neutral site? Where are you going to play? The Marlins have a dome. Do you want all the postseason to be played at in Marlins Park? I mean, it's the only time they'll probably ever host a postseason game. Ha ha ha. But no, you don't want the baseball playoffs to become sterile. You don't want it to become where there's no... That's what's so great about the baseball postseason to me, is that no matter where you are, there's a home field advantage to being in your home ballpark during the postseason. Your fans are into it. We don't like the Houston Astros. We don't like the Houston Astros fans, right? Because we're Yankee fans. We don't like them. But what an atmosphere at Minute Maid Park when the Yankees are there during the postseason. Do you not want that? And then how is that fair to, say, the Yankees, where they would have to play at, say, in Miami? And Houston's got a dome. Even if they didn't, they're in Texas. The weather's not really a problem there. So, the Astros would still have home field advantage and have their home fans in the postseason, but the Yankees wouldn't. You want to debate and break all this stuff down, but there's just so much uncertainty of it all, and it makes it hard. But look, guys, we got to get lost in something, right? I mean, it's supposed to be opening day. It's 7:40 something right now, so I'm assuming. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I believe the game was supposed to be at 3 o'clock. Chris and I should be doing a pod right now breaking down Garrett Cole's first start as a New York Yankee, but we can't, and it sucks. There's no doubt about it. There's nothing more than I would love to do tomorrow than fight angry Yankee fans because Garrett Cole gave up 3 runs in an inning. And people overreacting and saying he's overpaid and overhyped, and fighting people being like, dude, it's one start. It's the first start of the season. But we can't. There's no baseball. And it sucks. So it's just it's time to, there's nothing else that we can do. So let's just kind of let's get lost in something. What are the options for Major League Baseball right now? You hear that, the commissioner apparently has said they can't do 162. And I agree. They can't do 162. If you're going to start May, June, whenever, you can't do 162. It's impossible. The logistics of it are just not going to happen. Because you don't want to be playing... Look, nobody wants to be playing baseball on Christmas. Seriously. I know Scott Boras said something the other day about having a World Series game on Christmas. And as cool of a novelty as that might be, you really don't want it. You would really like to be wrapped up the latest by Thanksgiving. So what is a fair number to you, everybody? I'm sure if they told you get 40 games in a postseason right now, sign 40, you get nothing. You're going to take it because we have nothing right now. But you'd like to at least see him play 100 games this season, right? 100 would be fair. I think so. I think I would absolutely sign in blood for 100 games right now. For the 2020 season. And also you hear how would they squeeze in all these games? How would we get to 100 games, right? Or whatever they're planning on playing. More doubleheaders, right? They would have to play doubleheaders, maybe. What I don't like is the idea that's being floated around that these doubleheader games would then be 7 innings each. You just want to come out and say hell no to something, no 7-inning baseball games. But if you're getting a 7-inning baseball game, you're getting baseball. And that's what I keep having to say to myself. Yeah, you don't want 7-inning baseball games, but you want baseball. So if that's the compromise, that you can have 7-inning games during doubleheaders to get baseball, how do you say no to it? I guess you can't, right? You really can't. it's oh God, like I just don't know what, like I don't know what to say. Like I want to come in and have an entertaining pod with you guys and talk about baseball, but it's just like commissioner says something and you're like, no, I don't want that. But then somebody says to you, well, that means they're playing baseball. So you're like, yeah, I guess. I'll take it. I want baseball. I want it. You know, I've never been addicted to anything in my life, but like but baseball. So it's like, yeah, I'll take it. Give it to me. Give me baseball. I will take 7 innings in a doubleheader as much as like the baseball purist in me wants to just like throw up and then smack my head against the wall thinking about a 7-inning game. Like but it will mean we are playing games, so I'm gonna take it. So I take 100 games. I'll take 7-inning games. I just need we need baseball. We need it. We absolutely need it. And one of the coolest things to come out of this quarantine, but social distancing, right? It's like you're supposed to stay away from people, but here comes Aaron Boone over to Garrett Cole's house to play catch with his ace. I mean, that is pretty cool. And you did see the video that went around of a pregnant Amy Cole hurling rockets at her husband. So at least you see Garrett Cole's keeping his arm in shape. And that brings us to another thing, right? Let's say that baseball can come back on June 1st. Well, that means baseball really needs to come back on May 1st because, you know, spring training was canceled. 2 or 3 weeks of spring training. So are we essentially starting at square one again where guys are rolling in on Valentine's Day or February 12th or whatever the report date was? Are we back to that point now? Where we got to start over again? You know, guys are still keeping in shape, but you know it's not the same thing as when they're in camp, right? You know that. So if we can play on June 1st, does that mean we really need to be able to congregate again on May 1st? And then, or is that then now if we can get back to normal, quote, on June 1st, does that mean we're really not playing baseball until July 1st? Because then now you can probably July, August, September, October, you can still probably get in a 90, 100 game season at that point. And as much as I want baseball to come back much sooner, I think in the last episode we talked about opening day, Memorial Day, and how cool that would be. I mean, for the country to just get over this and have a celebration of life in baseball coming back on July 4th. I mean, does it get better than that? Could it get better than that? Yeah, it could. Play baseball on Memorial Day. Like that's really, but so I think you have to put into perspective these timelines where you have to look at it like, they say, yeah, everybody can come out on June 1st, but that doesn't mean that we can just jump back into playing baseball because I think these guys are going to have to pretty much go through spring training again. And you can't give them a week. I mean, what's fair? What's fair? A week? I don't think a week would be enough because I would think at least the amount of time that they missed is the amount of time that they would need to get ready. And maybe tack on a week of that because everybody's just sitting around. Like I said, I don't think a lot of these guys are sitting around eating Doritos and getting fat, but it's limited what the Yankees are still able to do, if they're even able to do anything anymore at Steinbrenner Field. They're limited with what they're able to do at home. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, you got to get everybody back into the swing of things. So you're almost going to have to restart spring training. So, the more and more I think about it, maybe July 4th is the best case scenario for everybody. Unless this timeline of them saying, well, we can play on June 1st really means that we're back to business on May 1st. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, guys. Like, it's... so, there's really not much else news-wise to talk about. I guess we could talk about Noah Syndergaard needing Tommy John surgery. I guess the Yankees dodged a bullet there by that rumored trade in the winter meetings of 29. Well, I guess it would be 2018. That there was some talks of Noah Syndergaard coming to the Yankees because imagine if Thor and Sevy both needed Tommy John surgery on this staff. It obviously wouldn't be a good thing. We could talk briefly here as like a teaser type thing, I guess you would call it. ESPN Radio the other day was like, what does Chris Sale needing Tommy John surgery mean to the Yankees? And I tweeted this out. It means absolutely nothing. And if you agree or disagree, I would love to know your thoughts on it. Because to me personally, I don't really see the Red Sox as a threat to the Yankees or even the Rays to be a second place team in this. They might not even be a threat to the Blue Jays to be a third place team in this division this year when we get back to baseball. Because, when you go through a scenario where you trade your best player in Mookie Betts and then your ace needs Tommy John surgery, even before that, your number 2 guy, David Price, who, Yankee fans have no real respect for him because he's very rarely, if ever, pitched well against the Yankees. But during the course of the regular season, this guy can go out there and pitch to a sub-4 ERA, make starts, be representative, and be a solid 2 or 3 guy. He's traded too. So where are you getting your innings from? So I don't really, to answer ESPN Radio's question, I don't really think it means anything to the Yankees that Chris Sale is missing the season. It doesn't. And to go back to Noah Syndergaard missing the season now with Tommy John surgery, the Mets' odds to go to the World Series or win the division, I forget what they were talking about, are exactly the same after the news came out. And I find that hard to believe how you can lose your number 2 and it not really affect your odds of winning. I know Noah had a down year last year, but now you're asking Marcus Stroman to step up and be a number 2? I got my own issues with Marcus Stroman because he blocked me on Twitter. He blocks a lot of people on Twitter because he can't really handle negative criticism, even though I really wasn't being negative towards him. He just said something I disagreed with, and I said as much, not in a, maybe he took it as a jerky way, but I didn't really think, I could really been a jerk about it, but I don't think I was, but, whatever. But he does have a rep as being a guy that blocks people on Twitter, so, I mean, there you go. So now you're asking him to step up. You're asking, Matz to step up. And then, Porcello is now your number 4. It's the same thing we talk about with the Yankees all the time. It was fine when Happ was your number 5. But now you're looking at a scenario where Happ has to be the number 3. And again, this is something that we talked about last episode. What is the silver lining of the baseball season being delayed? That Happ can slide back to being a number 4 now because we're going to probably be looking at a scenario where we're going to be back, and so is James Paxton. So James Paxton can slide into the number 2 or number 3 slot wherever you want to put him. You got to think Stan's going to be ready. You hear Judge is healing. So, if we play in June, let's hope Judge is ready for that. Because if not, then how much longer? So these are all things to consider that maybe it sucks. It does suck. But you always got to take a positive out of something. And the positive could be is that James Paxton actually won't miss any time. Giancarlo Stanton actually won't miss any time. Maybe Judge won't miss any time. And if he does, it'll be a lot less than he would have if the season started today. So, I mean, like I said, we're in an unprecedented time. We're just trying to get through this, and sometimes there's no words for it. But when you have to do a podcast, you got to find the words for it, and it's hope. We hope that we can get back to baseball. We hope that we can get back to some normalcy here, whether that's May 1st, June 1st, July 1st. I just don't want to be in a scenario where there's no baseball this year at all, because that would be terrible. And from a personal perspective, my wife is, you guys hear me talking about this all the time, and I don't mean to harp on it, but, my wife's due the first week in May. Like, all I can think about is, like, sitting with my daughter, watching baseball, holding her, feeding her, watching baseball, instilling the love I have of this game and of the Yankees in her, so we can have that thing to bond over, and have that thing, that daddy-daughter time, that I don't have to force her to go to a Yankee game. She asked Daddy to go to the Yankee game. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and I know that be a baby and she won't remember any of this shit, but I will, And it's like, you don't want the first year of her life, the first season of her life to be canceled. You don't want that, So, like, from being like on a selfish level here, you want baseball back, so you can sit back and have those moments in your life where just like everything's perfect. You're watching Aaron Judge hit a 500-foot home run while Garrett Cole striking out 16, and the Yankees are slapping around the Red Sox, and you're holding your daughter in your hands like those, and then you're sitting back and saying, "Hey, life's not that bad." And you want that, and hopefully we will get there. And it's just that word again, hope. And hopefully we will all get through this healthy and together. And so I guess we can wrap up here. Probably going on 25 minutes to half hour. So you don't need to hear me rambling on too much. But as I said, thank you for everybody that's been jumping in and out watching. Thank you to everybody who's going to download and listen. I know it's probably, you guys probably like it better when Chris and I are together playing off each other, but like I said, we're in a different era right now, and he's got 3 kids, I got a pregnant wife. You don't know where everybody's been. You just got to play things smart right now, and until we can figure out a way to bring the show back together, like I said, you got to take me and you got to take him and just take your NXT, your NYYST fixed the way you can get it. And we do appreciate everybody, and we do want to produce as much content as possible. That's why we came up with the 10 questions in quarantine idea, to at least, if we can't do regular shows, we're doing something for you guys, because you guys have been super supportive of the show through the years. And without the fans, there's no reason to really do this. So thank you to everybody, and we do wish health and safety upon you and your families. So just continue to be social distancing. Only go out if you absolutely need to. Go take a walk, but don't. Just because the grocery store is open and you need to get out of the house, if you don't really need anything, don't go out. I mean, I'll give a Brian Hoke a plug here. If you haven't read this, go on Amazon and get it delivered. Mission 27. I read this when I was on vacation last year, and I couldn't put it down. I read it in like 3 or 4 days, which, for me is really fast, because I'm not a fast reader. Usually when I read, especially for entertainment purposes, and I like to really take my time and ingest the information, but I couldn't put the book down. So, and if you're a Yankee fan and you remember the last World Series that they won in 2009, this is a really good book. If you haven't read The Baby Bombers yet, also by Brian Hoke, and I should give Mark Feinsand some love as well. Mark Feinsand co-wrote this with Hoke. But if you haven't read The Baby Bombers yet, you need to get on that, because that book came out 2 years ago now, and it's really the backstory of how guys like Gary Sanchez and Aaron Judge, and I know he's not here anymore, but Greg Burden, it kind of gives an insight onto how, and Luis Severino, and backstory and insight and things that you might not know on how scouting and Brian Cashman's mind works and how they do talent evaluations. It was really, really good. It's an excellent read. I wouldn't recommend Mission 27 to non-Yankee fans, because it really is like a book for Yankee fans. But I would recommend Baby Bombers to non-Yankee fans, to just get that insight of how a GM puts together his team. So I would definitely recommend that. So these are things you can do to keep yourself busy, fill your baseball void. You can buy MLB The Show. I bought it a week ago, still haven't played it, even in quarantine. That's where I'm at with video games these days, but maybe I'll crack it open this weekend. As soon as I end this with you, I got another set of questions to answer to another person that has agreed to do 10 questions in quarantine, and then I'm going to watch 61, because it's my favorite baseball movie of all time, and it's the only thing I can think of to be watching this evening while there is no actual baseball. So again, thank you for spending part of your. Today is Thursday, right? Thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with me. And if you're listening on iTunes, thank you for downloading and listening in your regular way of listening to podcasts. So thank you very much. This is where I get thrown off because usually it's like Stat Guy Rye, Chris say goodbye, but no one's here. So also I do want to plug this before we go. As everybody knows that follows me, big Sylvester Stallone fan, Rocky, obviously. I have been doing the Sylvester Stallone Movie Madness Tournament every day at 4 p.m. A new matchup drops. 32 movies pitted against each other to find out the ultimate Sylvester Stallone movie. We are on the 6th matchup of the first round today, Thursday, as it's live as we're recording this. So far, all the 1 seeds have advanced, and the first 2 seed has advanced. So nothing has gone against the chalk, as they say. I thought I thought Over the Top had a chance to upset Rocky Balboa in a 2-7 matchup. I really thought so. Over the Top, I thought was a live underdog, but Rocky Balboa definitely put down Over the Top. Over the Top is one of those cheesy 80 movies, right? Like, you saw it in the 80s, and now you watch it in 2020, and you're like, yeah, it didn't really age well, but people have fond memories of it from the 80s. So, and because I know Rocky Balboa is a little divisive amongst Rocky fans, where it's just like, I love it. It's you guys know it's my favorite Rocky movie. I love it. That's why I put it as a 2 seed in the Rocky region, right? So I thought there was a chance that Over the Top could upset Rocky Balboa, but it didn't. So I'm glad everybody that voted didn't let Rocky Balboa get knocked out in the first round. So right now, I believe it's Escape Plan is a 2 seed versus Nighthawks, a 7 seed in the Expendables region. And tomorrow, Friday, will be the second first round matchup in the First Blood region. And I don't recall off the top of my head what the 2-7 matchup is there. But please follow me on Twitter at Christian_NYYST to come out and vote every day at 4 p.m. for the next matchup in the Sylvester Stallone Movie Madness Tournament. Probably wouldn't be doing this if baseball didn't get canceled, but like I said, you got to try to do different things. Got to try to stay busy, try to stay active, try to stay and having fun during these unprecedented times. So thank you for listening. And, when there's baseball, there's baseball. When there's another podcast, there's another podcast. Because, like we said, you can't really promise anything these days because you just never know what's going to happen next. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.